Hello and welcome back to Clownfish TV. It is me, Gigi Sparkles. I am doing this one by myself because Neon is out doing other things. So apparently the damage control has now begun. We know that the Indiana Jones movie opened this weekend. It didn't do very well. And now the trusted media for Disney are coming out and being like, well, fam, it wasn't that bad. It's record breaking in some ways if you look at it and squint and tip your head to the side. So we're going to talk about that. Before we get into any further, please like and subscribe. If you do, I'll give you a woohoo. Woohoo. So we're going to talk about the film. Now, some people have seen it and have written me and they said it isn't as bad as other people are making it out to be. That being said, we know from the numbers, people did not turn out in the numbers that Disney expected them to do so. I think at this point, besides the fact that, people don't think we need another Indiana Jones movie, there's the fact that as soon as you say that Disney and Lucasfilm are doing it, people are immediately like, oh, I already know what that's going to be like, and they're just not bothering to go. I think, and people just don't want to go to the theater anymore for whatever reason, unless it's something like Super Mario Brothers or Spider-Verse, something like that. They're not going to the theater. So now here comes the trusted media, comicbook.com, Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, and all that stuff. They're all coming to talk about how the film, it did okay. I swear, it did okay in the UK. Hell, even Disney put out, Indiana Jones with a Dial of Destiny opens number one. I can't even. Yeah, number one. Okay, I think it's more like a number two. But we're going to talk about that. So let's start with this. This is the first thing I saw today. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny dominated the UK box office, guys. It's okay. It's a win. Because in the UK, it did phenomenal. And you're like, wow, how much did it do in the UK? Because, we have Variety, it's a 43% market share in the UK box office. And you're like, wow, that's got to be pretty good, right? I mean, it's got to be. It did $9 million. For the weekend in the UK. And that's a win, guys, because it is the 5th largest opening of a movie in 2023 in the UK. This ranks up there with The Little Mermaid being number one film, and you look and it's because it was number one in the Philippines for that week. This is what they're doing. It's number one in the UK and 5th biggest opening ever in the UK for 2023. So that's what they're going with. That's what they're going to spin this time, okay? They're talking about people debating its movie's performance. But one thing is clear. People across the pond love their Indiana Jones. Yeah, that's $9 million for 3 days. Good. Yeah, fantastic. Okay. But that's 43% of the market share. So movies, they did probably, if that's $9 million, it's 43%. Well, they do like 12 million, 13 million overall this weekend at the box office in the UK. And 9 of it was Indiana Jones. So that's a win because, it did 43% market share. And then after this, I had to laugh because I was searching. I found this. This is Disney's press release they put out yesterday. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny opens number one with 130.6 million worldwide. They were guessing it would make about 130 so globally. So that's within where they expected. But it's not good. That's not a good movie total. To put it in comparison, right? This is also Disney's press release from February 21st. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania conquers the global box office with 249.7 million. Ant-Man and the Wasp, which did not do well, had the same press release from Disney, and it was conquering, it was winning with 249.7 million globally. And they put out this one. It opens number one. This is like, I opened number one because there was no competition. It's number one on a Wednesday. There isn't a lot of competition for it right now. A lot of the movies that have been out for a while. As soon as some of the other movies that are coming out, like Barbie and Oppenheimer and the new Mission Impossible film come out, they're going to kick its ass. But this is what they're doing, the positive spin that is Disney. It opened number one in several key markets, including Argentina, Australia, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and the UK. And it posted its highest opening weekend of 2023 in Denmark, Finland, and Greece. I mean, I guess if you want to try to find the silver lining, you dig deep, but that's your win. It opened number one in Denmark, Finland, and Greece. There's no offense to Denmark, Finland, and Greece, but come on, I'm like, that's your win. To put it in perspective again, Lightyear, the big bomb Lightyear that cost a lot of money. I don't even know if it cost as much as Indiana Jones did. It was a bomb because it opened with 135 million worldwide. Okay? 135 million worldwide is what it opened with last year. And that was considered a bomb. And they're touting the praise of opening to 130.6 million for an Indiana Jones franchise film. Indiana Jones. And they're like, this is a win, guys. The other thing that they're going with is this one. Oh my gosh, it excavated 11.8 million at Monday's box office. And they're like, wow, it's doing better, guys. It did 11.8 million, which is on par with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Thor Love and Thunder for their first Monday after film on a holiday weekend. Okay? Meanwhile, last year, Minions: The Rise of Gru on just the 4th of July did like 16 or 17 million. But, they're just looking for anything to say this is a win. Now, long term, if it is really good, people might come out more and more and it might do better. But they've been telling us that about other movies like Little Mermaid and stuff too. And Little Mermaid still far surpasses this on box office, but it's not even going to probably make much money at all, if it makes any. This one has to make, okay, well, if we know that it costs 350 million to make, and then we know it's at least 100 million in like promotion and stuff, it has to make at least, well, that's 450 million. But you have to remember, as people keep forgetting, that when you open in the theaters get a cut. And then you have residuals and other expenses that come out of that total as well. So they usually say you have to double that number. It's got to make about 600 to 700 million to break even, at least. So it's going to be lucky if it breaks even at this point in time. But they're going to literally do whole entire articles about how great Indiana Jones is. Number one in the UK and Greece and Finland. And I'm sorry, who else am I missing? Denmark. But it's the highest opening ever in those places. It's number one in France and Spain. Were people really going out to the movies in France? Because poor France was having its own issues this past week. I don't think going to the theater was probably people's top of mind thing to do with everything else that's going on. But hey. I just think it's funny that they're going to such lengths. And then Disney puts out this. Oh man, here we're going to read some of this. We talked about how it's the whip smart archaeologist. Harrison Ford is reprising his iconic role as the whip smart archaeologist. Currently has an 88% Rotten Tomatoes verified moviegoer rating. Yeah, again, if you have a ticket, you can rate, but people have tickets. Their ratings don't always go through, and you can theoretically. A studio could buy tickets to their own movie and give themselves reviews. I'm honestly surprised they don't have it set at 95 on lock there, because that's what they kept doing for the live action remakes. They're talking about here, starring alongside Ford in this film was Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Antonio Banderas, Karen Allen, yay for Karen Allen, John Rhys Davies, yay for John Rhys Davies, Shawnette Renee Wilson, Thomas Kretschmann, Toby Jones, blah, 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 Mads Mikkelsen, etc., etc., etc. And they're based on characters created by Disney legend George Lucas and Philip Kaufman. The George Lucas had Disney basically flipped off and threw his script away for Star Wars. And the film was produced by Kathleen Kennedy, Frank Marshall, and Simon Emanuel. So I wonder who's going to get gone first. An executive produced by Steven Spielberg, who pretty much didn't do anything but took the money and the name credit. And John Williams has scored Indiana Jones films since 1981, and he composed the score again because he came out for Star Wars too. They really actually kept it short and sweet. I'm surprised they didn't go more into it. Now, it's gonna be interesting for a couple reasons, because the investor calls will be coming up soon. Now, this would be actually on the last quarter of the year, because the final quarter for Disney would run July through the end of September. So this is actually going to show up on their final quarter. It's not going to show up in the last quarter. But traditionally Mondays are meeting days, and usually Tuesdays, which would be today, is a day you hear a lot of information. Well, because of the 4th of July, a lot of people have taken off extra days for the weekend. So I'm thinking the meetings are going to probably happen tomorrow, and we'll hear about it tomorrow or Thursday about what happens in those meetings, because that's how it goes every week. And I'm interested to see what happens, if anything happens come those meetings, if we see any announcements, any changes, things like that. Because if they're going to make a decision like that, Well, one, it might be too soon. They might have to wait longer. But if they're going to do it this week, you're going to hear about it probably tomorrow or the next day. Because we talked about that the other day. The meetings won't happen. Usually your Monday meetings will probably happen Wednesday in this week. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I just think it's absolutely funny that the media, and this is the same media who was calling out the fact that the movie wasn't making enough money. The same media that was like, this ain't it, fam, and giving it bad reviews, are the ones that are saying, oh, it's number one in the UK for 2023. It's the 5th highest opening ever. I swear. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. Because we know that we have a bunch of movies coming out that are supposed to be highly anticipated films. Barbie, I guess, is supposedly a really highly anticipated film. People had this one at the top. I'm concerned, though, when they had that list. Now, granted, it was a survey of limited number of people. They said that Indiana Jones was listed as their number one at the box office for both men and women. And I'm like, if that survey is true, what does that mean for other movies coming out this summer? Because this is not good. And I know the box office overall is down from last year by 2%. They said, because we have winners and we have losers, and the winners are basically carrying everybody else. But it's not like it used to be. It just really isn't. And I think there's a lot of reasons for why this is happening. But when it comes to, this film, I think it's because a couple reasons. One, people did not think we need another Indiana Jones film. They didn't like the Crystal Skull, so they're like, this one's going to be bad. As soon as you say Lucasfilm and Star Wars, it's a running joke that Lucasfilm takes their legacy characters that are dudes like Luke and Indiana Jones, and they just destroy them for the sake of narrative. And you cannot just have a good movie with these characters that maybe just another adventure that they're like, oh, I'm retiring now, but it's the last adventure that everything's still good in their lives. No, you have to make them miserable old men, crotchety old men, so you can somehow give them another story, and they're not allowed to be happy. They're not allowed to be married. They lose everything because they just do, because they're dudes. And I'm tired of it. It's tiring. And I really wanted this movie to be good, because people are like, you just want it to fail. You just want it to fail. It's like, no, actually I didn't. I thought, first of all, why do we need another one of these movies? We don't. I thought it was dumb they're doing another one. But if they were going to do it, I did not want to see it do poorly. I'm tired of seeing the characters I grew up with, the characters I loved, the heroes from my childhood destroyed and doing poorly. I don't want to see that. I don't think anybody wants to see that. We want it to be good. But there's the problem with when you're doing these new movies based on old properties, especially beloved ones that are big deals from when we were kids. There is a level of expectation from a fan base that kept it around for years, that showed their kids, and their kids showed their kids, or whatever, and they've been loving this since it came out. Whether it be adult when it came out or a child when they came out, and they've kept it alive for decades, which is why it's still relevant, why it's still worth something. And then you get these people coming in, and they're going to reinvent the wheel, and for whatever reason, their idea of reinventing the wheel is making the wheel a woman, but they keep doing this, and it's just sad. You don't want them to fail. But that if they're going to triple down on this, there are people actively wanting it to fail because they're like, maybe they'll learn a lesson. But they don't learn a lesson. We've seen this. They've had years to learn a lesson. And we're seeing a little bit of change in the fact that they're getting rid of diversity inclusion officers and some other things. But they keep doubling down on these narratives. And it's really tiring, and it's really sad. And I didn't want this to happen. I actually would have been happy if it had been a really good movie. If it had done really well and it kicked ass in the box office and it was proper Indiana Jones, I would have been over the moon happy, even if it was Disney who did it. But it's not. I don't think people are even giving it a chance because they know what to expect, because they've already been trained what to expect. But now they're just looking for any little win they did. So yay, good job, Disney. Indiana Jones opened less than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and less than Lightyear. That's a win, right? Globally. And it's number one in other countries with no competition right now. And it's the highest opening they've had in 2023 in a couple countries too. So yay you, I guess. But I'm the king of the crap. Yes, but I'm still king, right? Woohoo! I don't know. I'm going to wrap this up. So please like and subscribe. Happy 4th of July to those of you that, happen to be in America celebrating the 4th of July in the UK. Sorry. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support and get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.